surprisingly satisfying. Did not expect that. This is the tip of VW Golf's spear, the Mark 8.5 Golf R Black Edition with Performance Pack. Now I'm going to show you just how fast this car really is, and then I'm going to show you how really slow it is. The Golf turned 50 last year, and this is exactly the kind of midlife crisis you want to be bringing home. This is the fastest Golf ever made in 0 to 60 in 4.6 seconds. That's slightly faster than its main rival, the Mercedes-AMG A35 hatchback, thanks to the extra 13 horsepower that boosts this one to a magical number 333 horsepower. The standard Golf R takes you to a top speed of 155 miles an hour, but with the Performance Pack, that's boosted to 167 miles per hour, ideal for the Autobahn. Max schnell! The main difference between a Golf R and something like a Club Sport or a GTI is the four-wheel drive system. And it's always been a bit of a struggle for VW to balance the performance disadvantage of four-wheel drive, the weight that it carries in the corners, versus the nimbleness of a two-wheel drive system, which can just help you nip and tuck the speed through the tight and twisty corners. But this thing is really clever because this four-wheel drive system is so smart. With the torque vectoring, powering up the rear wheels, you can send up 50% to the rear, which on the face of it isn't that much. But what they're able to do is adjust how much power it sends to either side. So it can send nearly all of that to the outside wheel to get that one turning that a bit faster. And what you're getting is this really amazing agility on the turn-in, which just makes this four-wheel drive system feel incredibly alive and alert. And this car isn't the lightest at 1,548 kilograms, but if you throw enough power at the problem, it goes away. And 333 brake horsepower from this 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder unit does the job. It's got loads of torque, shoots you out the corner, and just makes this car feel really alive. VW kind of had to restore the faith in its products after the Mark 8 tested our patience with the touchscreen from hell, software glitches, and basically HAL from 2001 as a travel companion. One of my buddies even told me that when he ran out of washer fluid, the car refused to move.
I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
The Mark 8.5 is supposed to address those issues, boost performance, and be dressed to impress with some sexy facelifting. The rest of the Mark 8.5 Golf range has gone back to physical buttons, while the R retains the touchpads, with the sensitivity dialed back to resolve accidental triggering. I like this car a lot. This thing is cool. It's very smooth at high speed and just super dynamic in the twisty stuff. Very responsive. Finding the traction control quite limiting, and the car's getting quite nervous and setting off the hazard lights. So I think definitely to explore this car on a wet track, I actually need the traction turned off just to sort of get a feeling for what it's really like. But wow, it's got a really sharp front end. Just darts you into the corner, and then really the rear is just hanging in there. Would never have believed many years back that this would be the result of a four-wheel drive Golf with that extra weight it's saddled with. Compared to like a GTI with the front-wheel drive, you'd think this would be a bit stuck down, maybe a little bit tame. They've just put so much life and energy. I think these four-wheel drive systems now are so clever, what you can do with them. The braking as well. With all that speed, you need these big powerful brakes, and it's just beautifully balanced. I also like the ease of scrolling through the modes on this dash. Now, I'll be honest, I'm slightly intimidated by the infotainment system, and it's been known to have its niggles. But when you've got it up here, big and square, and you can just pop a button to flick it from comfort through to sport, through to race mode, and maybe get into the drift modes, makes it quite easy. So once you get driving along, and your head's up, looking where you're supposed to be, kind of get used to this. And I can see why they've kept that system in the car, because it is fairly advanced and all their tech is kind of built around it. And one of the main advantages of having four-wheel drive in the Golf R is that it comes with drift mode, and it'd be rude not to try it. Right, here we go. Yeah. Oh, hey! Oh, whoa, hey! There we go. All right, different animal when you turn the traction off. Don't be trying that down the car park. She loves it on power. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! That is surprisingly satisfying. Did not expect that. And it doesn't do it in an arbitrary way, just thundering all the power through the outside wheel. It's quite measured. The vectoring is subtle, and it's obviously using those clutches to very carefully distribute the power. Oh, lovely. It's highly entertaining. I'm sure if the track were a bit dry, I could probably just fully send it on the steering. But as it is, kind of restricted to just using the power, I'm not complaining. But even in this mode, the car's not unstable. Who would have thought? A little hatch could do that. You definitely want to have your wits about you though. I would not recommend driving this to and from work in drift mode, but at least you can take it to a track and behave like a hooligan. And just seamless gear changes. So you can get it sideways and just kick in the next gear and blast away. Here we go. Yeehaw! Drift mode unlocked. Massive tick. The R also comes with a Nürburgring mode. Now that advances the idle, keeps the revs higher, gets you on boost a bit faster. I think you can change gear a bit later, sharpens up the steering, basically makes the car a bit more badass. It also makes the suspension very slightly more compliant and softer to suit the bumpy, uneven surface that is the Nürburgring. So it's probably not a bad setting to use at Dunsfold. And now that I've got the car set in its fastest possible mode, I'm going to show you exactly how slow it really is. To my right, the RacingLine Golf Mk8 7.5 R with some serious hardware upgrades. R600 air intake, turbo inlet system, performance intercooler and charge pipes, catback exhaust to help it breathe, PowerMax Turbo RacingLine software that produces 427 horsepower. The chassis and brakes are upgraded too, with sport springs and dampers and stage 3 monoblock 6 piston 380mm brake kit with upgraded rear brake rotors. 0 to 60 on that one, 3.5 seconds. That's 1.4 seconds faster than standard. To my left, the RacingLine Golf Mk8 R, also with the same kind of upgrades that the Mk8 7.5 has, with a few extras. For starters, it's got a full exhaust system and RacingLine's Stage 3 map, producing 550 horsepower, 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat, over a second faster than stock. I'm not sure I fancy my chances, but these are just a couple of feral Stigs I found wandering around. I mean, tamed my ass, look at them. One of them actually bit me on the finger. All right, guys, here we go. There's a man in front of us who's going to start us off, okay? Everybody play nicely, no cheating. Don't go until he gives us the go. Oh, boys! Oh, you dogs! You dogs! They didn't even wait for him to drop his finger. Even still, though, the power difference is substantial. Wow, this car is such a beauty. It's so well balanced, so fast, fantastic performance, so usable, and then you put it in a race with those things, just makes it look pedestrian. Well, there's no need to repeat that, but I want to have a go in that one. Come on, you, out you get. It's my turn.
It's hard to losing.
Yeah, come on, get back to the woods. Right, let's try this one in drift mode. 550 horsepower. Come on, in a Golf. It sounds so beefy. I just love it. The standard R was just really subtle. This one just barking the orders, but still super smooth with the gear changes. It's just really angry tone. Come on. It's 220 horsepower more than the standard 8.5R. It doesn't feel insane though. It's kind of just enough to just casually pop it sideways. In drift mode, everything's just that little bit easier now. Oh wow, you can feel the tune. This car is squirming a lot more as it pushes that power through this basically the same skinny tyres as a standard car. It's just super duper playful. And you can feel the car's agility, it's just a little bit stiffer. And even on a wet track, just when you're sliding around, it just gives you a little bit more precision. Very cheeky, very stable platform. Nice, it's got really good balance to it. This is too much fun. I've never driven a Golf like this. Whoa, whoa! It's got seriously aggressive camber. Bearing in mind that the entire contact patch between the tyre and the tarmac is the size of your hand. tuning that balance is really, really important and difficult to get right. But I'm loving this. This is too much fun. It's a proper little racing car. Just getting used to the sense of having roll bars in a Golf. It's quite different. I just love people that love Golfs though. It's a great car with so much history. It deserves to have this kind of attention heaped upon it. Right, let's get back to my favourite corner, the reverse hammerhead. Just going to go up there to the McLaren hut, which is a little bit deserted these days, and see if I can send this thing sideways in third, just to see if I can really. What I like though is that the four-wheel drive system isn't competing with itself. They seem to have figured that out, which is something that's quite a new breakthrough really for these type of cars in the last few years. I am loving it. Y'all gotta be a little bit careful there in high speed, boy. Currently, the fastest Golf around this track is the Mk8 Club Sport on a 1 minute 26.8 seconds, which is the same time I did here back in the day in a Ferrari 575 Maranello GTC, which is crazy, isn't it? So I'm curious to see how much faster is this one. We'll find out in about a minute and a half. Don't tip it over like Tom Cruise in the last corner and across the line. The RacingLine Mk8 Golf R lap time is a 1 minute 23.5. Bye bye Lamborghini Murcielago. Unbelievable. That is the fastest Golf ever to lap the Dunsfold track. Come to think of it, I think it's actually the fastest hot hatch I've ever driven here. Subscribe to stay tuned for the next hot lap and let me know in the comments what I should drive next.